The soft rays of the California sunrise spilled through the curtains as Michael Turner slowly opened his eyes. At 42, Michael was the man everyone envied, the vice president of a major tech company in Silicon Valley, respected, admired, and deeply in love with his beautiful wife, Rachel. Rachel, 36, was the kind of woman who could silence a room with her grace. She had always dreamed of a perfect life, a big house, luxury cars, vacations in Europe, and with Michael, she had it all. They lived in a $5 million mansion overlooking the Pacific Ocean, hosted glamorous parties, and were the couple everyone wanted to be. But there was something Rachel never knew, something Michael had kept deeply hidden. Over the years, Michael had secretly invested in startups and stocks, quietly growing a fortune of nearly $100 million. He had a plan. He wanted to surprise Rachel on their 15th anniversary, reveal the truth, and retire early so they could travel the world together. Life was perfect. Or so he thought. One rainy evening, Michael's life changed forever. Driving back from work, he took a call from a junior engineer and became momentarily distracted. In a split second, headlights blinded him, tires screeched, and metal crumpled against metal. When he woke up 3 days later in the hospital, the doctor's words shattered him. "Michael, we did everything we could. But, you'll never walk again." Paralyzed from the waist down, his entire world collapsed. Within weeks, he was forced to resign from his high-paying job. The company offered him a small severance, but his identity, his confidence, and his dreams all crumbled. Rachel visited him at first, bringing flowers and whispering, "We'll get through this, Michael. I promise." But behind those soft words, something had already started changing inside her. At home, the mansion that once echoed with laughter now felt like a cage. Michael, confined to a wheelchair, spent long hours staring at the ocean, battling depression. Rachel, meanwhile, began spending more time out with friends, coming home late, her patience thinner each day. One night, Michael overheard her on the phone, her voice low and sharp. "I can't live like this anymore. I didn't sign up for this." His chest tightened. He had given her everything, his love, his loyalty, his dreams. But now, when he needed her most, she was slipping away. Finally, after 3 painful months, Rachel came into the living room, her face cold. "Michael. I can't do this anymore. I want a divorce." The words cut deeper than the accident ever could. Rachel packed her things the next morning and left without looking back. What she didn't know was that Michael never touched his secret fortune. The $100 million remained hidden in offshore accounts, completely untouched, because in his mind, it wasn't about the money, it was about love, commitment, and loyalty. But now, sitting in the quiet emptiness of his mansion, he questioned everything. Days turned into weeks. Weeks into months. He struggled with loneliness, therapy, and an ocean of regret. But somewhere deep inside, Michael refused to give up. He started reading, writing, and attending online lectures. He met survivors like him, people who had lost everything yet found the strength to rebuild. And then, slowly, a new idea began to form. Michael decided he wouldn't spend the rest of his life drowning in pain. He used a small portion of his hidden fortune to start a non-profit foundation that provided free rehabilitation, scholarships, and job opportunities to people with disabilities. The foundation, called Phoenix Rise, began small, just a few volunteers, a tiny office, and one bold dream, to prove that broken people could still build beautiful lives. Within 5 years, Phoenix Rise became a global movement, helping thousands of families rebuild after tragedy. Michael became a symbol of hope, giving speeches at universities, tech conferences, and international summits. He was no longer the man Rachel had abandoned. He had become someone far greater. 10 years later, Rachel's life looked very different. After leaving Michael, she remarried a wealthy businessman, hoping for the glamorous life she once craved. But her second marriage ended in betrayal and bankruptcy. Her husband left her for a younger woman, draining her savings and leaving her nearly penniless. One evening, while scrolling through her phone in a tiny apartment, she stumbled upon a viral video titled, "From Crippled and Abandoned to Changing Millions of Lives, Michael Turner's Inspiring Journey." Her heart stopped. Michael, her Michael. Tears blurred her vision as she watched him, confident, radiant, surrounded by world leaders and children whose lives he had changed. And then came the moment that shattered her. In an interview, the reporter asked Michael, "What kept you going after losing everything?" Michael smiled softly and replied, "I realized that when you lose love, you can still give it to the world. And when you give, life gives back more than you ever imagined." Rachel wept silently. Months later, Rachel stood outside the glass doors of Phoenix Rise headquarters, her hands trembling. Michael sat inside, speaking with a group of young wheelchair users, his voice full of passion. He looked older, wiser, yet somehow brighter than she remembered. When he finally noticed her, there was no anger in his eyes, only calmness. "Rachel," he said softly. Her voice cracked, "Michael. I made a mistake. I left when I should have stayed. I thought money and comfort mattered more than love. And now I see, you were everything." Michael listened quietly, then placed a gentle hand on hers. "I forgave you a long time ago, Rachel. But I also learned something. Sometimes losing someone shows you who you were meant to become." She broke down, sobbing uncontrollably. Michael never took Rachel back, but he didn't push her away either. Instead, he helped her get back on her feet, offering her a job at Phoenix Rise. Years later, during his TED Talk, Michael ended his speech with these words. "When life breaks you, you have two choices: stay broken, or rebuild into something unshakable. Forgive those who leave, bless those who hurt you, and remember, your worth is never defined by who walks away. It's defined by who you become when you stand again." The audience erupted into a standing ovation. Michael's journey became one of the most inspiring stories in the world, reminding millions that true strength isn't in holding on, it's in rising after being abandoned. And though Rachel would carry her regret forever, she spent the rest of her life helping others, inspired by the man she once left behind. This story is a reminder that life can break you in ways you never expect. The people you love may leave when you need them most. But your story doesn't end there, it begins the day you decide to rise again. Sometimes, the worst heartbreaks lead to the most beautiful transformations.